Hello, this is Josie McConnell with my podcast. Now, I am sorry if I start coughing in the middle of my podcast, but I've had a sinus infection, so that's why my voice is a little bit scratchy, and my eyes are also very puffy. So, we'll just push through. It's okay. Now, I chose to listen to the podcasts inside the minds of teens and tweens. Let's dive in. There have been lots of studies that clearly show the increased traumatization of high school students in the wake of the pandemic. Some solutions are introduced, such as showing kids their progress, trying to understand their trauma, building their confidence, breathing exercises, and teacher greeting at the door, which just means extra feedback for the students before they sit down at their desks so they can understand what they did well on their assignments. Now, teachers need to engage kids in their classes. There has to be ownership for the students' own work so they can understand what they do is going to impact their own lives, and so they need to do their absolute best. Before taking care of students, teachers need to take care of themselves. A popular teacher mental health check during the pandemic was actually phone therapy. Trying different things is important because it doesn't matter how many things don't work for you, but when you find something that does work for you and works well. We can't just ignore these problems in our classrooms that affect both our teachers and our students. The top 2 research solutions include coffee talk. This means background noise. Having background noise has actually proven to keep people focused and limit their unconscious wandering of their own minds. Praise to criticism ratio. There need to be at least 3 positive feedbacks for every negative comment or thought. This goes for both self-assessing and teacher or peer assessing. Sorry. Now we move on to the second podcast. Black teens deal with racism and unconscious bias, which can be toxic in a learning situation. Adultification is a way of understanding how Black girls are seen in a classroom setting. This can include putting yourself in the student's shoes and receiving the feedback and or punishments that they're receiving, and then you can decide for yourself if you think that it's fair or not. Black girls have different expectations and are therefore treated way differently than other students. Some areas that can cause for bullying or unfair punishment include dress, facial expressions, or tone of voice, which can receive more hyper-awareness than other students, and can make it easier to punish Black girls for not acting like other students. Just listening to the way that they talk and punishing them for that is really unfair. Teachers need to understand history and what causes inequality in order to stop it. We have to be active. We have to try to understand all students, not just Black students, and put ourselves in their shoes. Be able to honestly criticize yourself. Honestly, I disagree with this podcast a little bit because it was talking so much about Black students and how they're impacted by bullying and by this unfairness, like due to genders and different circumstances. But it didn't make sense to me because all students deal with some sort of bias. I didn't think it was very fair to all students, but I may be wrong. Sorry. Teachers need to During the pandemic, there were many studies done on the after effects of students and whether students are being social or not. They all deal with isolation. Look for those students who fall between the extroverts and the introverts. These kids may need to be pushed to interact and socialize more because they will not be seeking to socialize with other students, but they're also not going to be learning how to be around just themselves like an introvert will. There was a study done that shows that 1 in every 4 kids deals with mental health issues. We want to normalize kids being able to reach out and need help, because this can make it so kids don't turn to self-harm in order to cope. Parents and teachers need to be able to spot mental illnesses in order to keep their students and children safe. Some kids may have very few coping strategies and may therefore turn to self-harm in order to cope. Looking for anger, recklessness, and not being included in other kids' activities can indicate an unhealthy child, a mentally unhealthy child. Letting kids know what depression and self-harm are can possibly help them self-diagnose and be able to reach out and show them that they can reach out and that they might need to because they might be suffering from these things. This can also show them that they don't need to figure everything out for themselves, but they can lean on their parents and teachers for support, if they need it. Now, this goes for parents. Don't stop after acknowledging a negative problem. Talk about what you'll do to cope or solve it in a healthy way, such as a problem at work with your boss or a problem with paying the bills. You need to be able to cope with these things because you are the role model for your student or your child. Big adjustments for kids coming back to school is they all have a smaller attention span, they're less responsive, and they're unprepared for their social school day. Life is a lot different than graduating high school kids expect. Taking a gap year has changed because of the pandemic. This time off before they go into a rigorous college environment. This can include traveling, exploring, and getting real-life experience before their typical 4-year college. It's important for students to understand that this doesn't indicate a lazy child if they want to take a gap year. Some kids don't even know what path they want to follow, and parents need to support their student getting the most out of their college or a gap year because they need to figure out what they want to do with the rest of their lives. Educators can help the teens get ready for what's ahead of them by making sure that their students can effectively learn remotely and to think outside the box and find the path they like. Understanding that all kids are different and some might want work experience before college life is important. Goals that a teen should have before they take this new focus is looking back at high school and finding out what they did well in and summarize what their current skills are. Think about what interests them, but they might not especially be good at. They also want to value real-world experience because it's so important to learn from those who are working to make a living and those who are in the real world. The community of college is priceless. Those interactions can prepare students for the rest of their lives. This is going to introduce more diversity than in previous years because of the pandemic. At the end of the day, skills are just as valuable as grades or test scores. Only you can choose what is right for you. It's your life, so you need to live it. Thank you so much for listening to my podcasts. I do apologize for coughing a couple times, but I think we got the point through. Thank you so much.